All right, so we're talking about Vortex Rising here by Kurt Mosher. This is measure 79 to 95. And in this tutorial, we're going to focus on the dynamics because we have some long crescendos and decrescendos and some very subtle shadings of the dynamics. And a lot of it, as always, is going to come from our bow use. You know, all the different things that we do to change the sound. Got to focus in on those, the basics, right? How much bow we're using, where are we in the bow, how much arm weight are we using? Okay, and I am going to leave the mute on for the entire time since it is marked consort, which means with the mute. That's going to change, it's going to change the way the instrument sounds. It's going to change the way I use my bow and the amount of arm weight that I'm going to use. Okay, so in the opening, and also please make sure that you practice dynamics with the metronome. When we get loud or we get soft, we just innately want to go faster or slow down or things like that. Use the metronome to help keep you, in check here while you are playing this, okay? And it's marked 152. So let's just play through the whole thing here. It's marked 152. One thing to note, because it is up and down and up and down, at 83, in that phrase, 83, 84, 85, 86, resist the temptation to crescendo, okay? Because we're practicing at the end. At the end, right, it crescendos. All right. There is no crescendo there from 83 to 86, and you need to be soft at 87 because you're only crescendoing to mezzo forte there in 89, right? So 83, I'm going to leave the metronome on. And they're coming down this scale. I'm having to do a diminuendo on a up bow. Thought about changing the bowing, but yeah, you need the bowing for the other crescendos and just the way it works out. And so there's really just no way around it. You just have to do the diminuendo on the up bow. So how are you going to do that? So we're here. Make sure with the frog. You're going to have to slow the bow down a lot, okay? Slow bow to the middle, moving this thing over to the fingerboard, all right? So go ahead and use up the bow. Okay, there for the diminuendo. Do it again. I'm using barely any bow, okay, on the second half of the scale because it is a diminuendo and I'm just trying to get down low and I'm really getting over the fingerboard, all right? I know it doesn't say pianissimo at 91, but when you're preparing this, especially if you're preparing it for an audition, you want to play it in the context of, how are you going to sound in the section, okay? And it is favorable to you and hopefully impressive to the judges if you play it in a way where you're exaggerating these dynamics like this and showing that you're not just thinking about performing this as a solo for an audition, but you're thinking ahead about, okay, exactly what's going to happen with me, the individual, inside the context of, 8, 10, however many cellos might end up in this cello section. All right? So, starting soft to give yourself somewhere to go. A little bit of a crescendo, then use up the bow. Then almost no bow. And this whole passage So 83 to 86 should be what? In the upper half of the bow so that it stays soft. Crescendo. Now, bow management is really, really, really important at 93 and 94 because you're decrescendoing to this pianissimo and you want to end up at the tip so that the sound just goes away, all right? So spin the bow, write it in your part, spin the bow. All that is at the tip there. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, all right, so let's get our tempo. Remember to start softly, all right, at the beginning of these crescendos so that we have somewhere to go. So some tricky dynamics there, right? But so make sure you're just managing your bow really, really well, that you're really thinking ahead about where you need to spend and save. Don't forget to let up on the arm weight on that diminuendo there, the up bow diminuendo, all right? And you'll be just fine. You'll be better than fine. You'll be great, okay? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if this helped, and we'll see you in the next one.